everyone. I'm sitting outside in a park. This is called the Nantang area. It's next to a very lovely river or canal, one of the two. But yeah, I'm spending more and more time outside. I made the decision not to wear a mask as much as possible for a few reasons. One, the fact of the matter is these masks don't really give much in the way of protection. In fact, you ask any credible medical professional, they will tell you most of these masks, they're not for preventing you from getting sick. They're to minimize the risk of you infecting someone else if you are sick. I mean, think about it. You go to the emergency room, someone has a cough and a fever. They don't give a mask to everybody in the waiting room. They just give a mask to the person who's sick. So I decided for starters, there's not really much point to it. And also, too, I think that not only is there no point to it, I think not wearing the mask would actually bring more benefit than wearing it, because people are still scared. People are afraid. My friends are telling me that companies are reopening, but employees are still refusing to show up to work because they're just scared. One friend told me, even in his country, where there are comparatively few infections, people are avoiding taking the train during rush hour, so they're only getting to work super early or not until lunchtime or something like that. So I think if more and more people are not walking around with masks on, people will be less and less afraid. And I think that's what really matters right now, is trying to help people not be so scared. Fear is the real enemy now. So I've been doing that, but of course, if somebody specifically asks me to put a mask on, of course I do. I never refuse in the face of a specific request. And that has happened a few times. The first, I was asked to put a mask on when I walked into the hospital for obvious reasons. It was kind of funny, actually. Not only did they tell me to put the mask on, but they advised me on how to wear it properly, which was kind of interesting. So there was the hospital, the supermarket. Well, that actually was surprised me, because recently I went into the supermarket and they specifically asked me to wear a mask. But just last night I went to the supermarket and I walked in without a mask, and nobody raised any objection. I was hanging out in the convenience store the other day, and the clerk there was basically her message was, okay, fine, you can sit in here, but you got to wear a mask if you're going to hang out for more than a few minutes. So that was fine. I did just that. Shopping mall too, they also insisted upon a mask. Basically anywhere where a lot of people are in close proximity with each other is where there's a good chance somebody will insist that you cover your mouth, which, as I said, I will do if I'm asked to. Of course, I'm not going to be disputatious or anything. And there's also another thing that they may ask you to do. The city has implemented a health code system. It's something that is distributed through an app called Alipay, which is very, very common here for people. It's something that people use to pay for things all the time. So you download the app and, well, not really the app, more like the program. You download it through Alipay and you fill out a series of questions, and depending on how you answer the questions, you are given either a green, yellow, or red code. Red code you have to stay in quarantine. Yellow code, you have to be you have to stay, I believe, in quarantine for 7 days. Green means you can come and go as you please. So you have to demonstrate before you enter a lot of places that you are green code. They will insist. And a friend of mine actually doesn't have Alipay for some very specific reasons. And he was given some sort of a paper form to show instead, but not everyone will accept it. Some people have, when we went hiking up the mountain together the other day, the park security let him through just with that. But when he tried to go into the mall, they were very firm. They said, no, not unless you're code green, you can't be allowed in. So if you don't have Alipay, it's a bit of a problem. But so far I've been okay. I mean, I carry a mask around with me in case I'm asked to put one on. They take your temperature. A lot of places will take your temperature before you're allowed in. In fact, outside of a lot of apartment buildings, there are basically checkpoints where you have to get your temperature taken before you're allowed in. And so far, it's going pretty smoothly for me. Even with the green code, still a lot of places are closed. There's a cafe in this same park where they are only allowing people to take food away, as usual. And in addition, for reasons that are not clear to me, there's a curfew in place, so stores have to close before 8 o'clock for some reason. I'm really not sure why. But the good news is, for progressively now, for several days, there have been no new cases of the virus reported. So that's good. As I said previously, they are gradually making things normal again. Buses are starting to run again. Parks are reopening. The airport and more importantly, the train station has gradually started resuming operations. So the fundamental things are starting to come back, and who knows when schools will be allowed to open back up, or restaurants. Could be a long time before restaurants start to open up again. I mean, before they start allowing people to actually come into the restaurant. But I think there definitely is a motivation to get things moving again, because the situation is costing the government and the economy and everyone a lot of money. I don't even want to think about what it's costing the economy as a whole, but I know that some of my friends and acquaintances here who work for private companies are actually not getting paid for the month of February because there was just no work. And I'm fortunate because I'm working for a public institution now, and the law says that if you work at a public school, then they definitely do have to pay you. So I'm lucky in that regard. So things are slowly improving, and I hope it'll stay that way, and I will definitely keep you guys up to date. 再见。